have a couple choice words I use. It's jagged, it's rugged, it's old school.
Yeah.
Those are the words, my descriptive words I talk to my staff about, and you know, they get it. It's part of this club. It's important to the feel of it. We're almost there. It's daily conditions now, so it's just going to be a little tweaking. We're actually, today we have a single cut on the greens with a double roll, and I believe we're hitting the speeds and the firmness we need to be today.
Introducing the watering into that cutting and rolling, like where does that kind of come in?
Yeah, so there's a setup crew coming behind Jordan that is watering the greens and cutting the cups behind them. So we're checking the moisture throughout an entire green complex and adjusting the water levels. This thing's really setting the firmness for the day, and we call it sealing the cut with the hose, adding water where it needs to be added, and then we'll come back later this afternoon, do the same thing with hoses and keep the greens nice and healthy. A guy on a hose with a moisture meter can bring a quadrant of a green from 10 up to say 15 on our moisture meters, which we typically like to be around 12 to 15 on our moisture meters. So that's what they do. They check the whole green, make a grid, and bring up what they have to bring up to 15. I want it like this right through the tournament. You know, 75 degrees, wind blowing, dry. That's when this course really performs how it should. We happen to be at our largest green, but the average square footage of our greens are around 4,200 square feet, which is very small. And then you throw the pitch into them and the undulations, and really some of the pinnable locations on some of our greens is under 2,000 square feet. So managing the traffic, that's something that Aidan will look at.
I just watered, so I have a feel for what this green's looking at like and where I'm gonna want to put pins. I know we were a little more stressed up in the front. That left area is high traffic, and I know this back right tends to get a little weak. So I'm just gonna pull the pin probably back in this direction.
That's something that Aidan will look at. Okay, we played golf to this pin location yesterday. That area got a little stressy over there. I'm gonna go to this quadrant with my cup today just to manage the traffic. If you don't do that properly, your greens can start to decline especially in the summer months in the middle of July. Traffic management is one of the most important things to setting up the greens. We have a good feel for this property. Even this green in particular, Aidan will know what spot on this green to go to each time because it will show signs earlier than other signs on this green. We all know every green, they all have their own personalities. Each area of the golf course, we call them microclimates, might warm up more than others. Wind might hit certain greens more than others. So we have a good feel, and we're all over that.
The bunkers are kind of the one thing that's like, don't really have a ton of technology in. Is that kind of fair to say?
Well, they do have the liner system in them. They have a drainage system under them. They have an irrigation system around them to keep them. So they are.
So the answer is no.
The answer is no. And they actually require a ton of labor. Bunkers probably take up, you know, I'd say a third of our labor force, just trying to keep them, because what happens is the wind blows the sand around, or we're dealing with gravity. A lot of these are kind of mild, but if we go to the bunker behind us, the face is really flashed up, that sand will migrate down. So
yeah, absolutely.
What happens, I'm sure when these guys measured that, they probably only had 1 inch on the face and 8 inches in the bottom, and they had to get all that sand back up top. Once we get week of, hopefully all of our sand depths are right, our compaction's where it needs to be, and we're just manipulating by hand with rakes. We're doing all the raking by hand. If we put a rake on that machine, it would cause more damage to the edges.
Right.
We're only using it for compaction. See his front tire actually compacting all that sand?
Right, right.
So what you see here with the rake is more aesthetics. It's not really losing that compaction that he's putting his time into. Yeah.
I see him throwing the golf ball into this space.
They're actually testing the firmness. We're also using a product that they use on infields on baseball fields.
Interesting.
On the faces of the bunkers to help them firm up. So something we've kind of evolved into trial and error.
Is that something that you guys, it's kind of exclusive here? Or?
As far as I know.
Yeah, that's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's hard work for these guys, and it's the hours and the dedication, but we all have one goal, to have a successful championship, and when your goals are aligned, it's exciting and they're all pushing through.
We've got a stimp meter, which some people think can be used for evil, some people think can be used for good, but it's to measure the speed of the greens, which, by the way, is not a speed at all. It's actually how far the ball rolls off of the stimp meter. Basically, you roll 3 balls in one direction in a flat area and 3 balls in the other direction in a flat area, and you take the average of those 2 rolls, and that number is your speed. So I placed the stimp meter at the average of those first 3, and now we can go back to the mark. About 11 feet 7 inches, what we get right now. Not bad at all for the Tuesday of advance week. The range that's been discussed is 12.5 to 13.
Luckily, we've worked and talked about this number for over a year, so we actually been preparing for a long time to be within this range. So seeing that it's 11.7, 11.8 right now, very confident we'll be able to get to those numbers easily without making big modifications or changes to our program. It took a lot of work to get here today, and I feel real good about where we are today going into this championship.